this day got a whole lot better now that I have coffee.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my Back to Beauty No Buy year. This year I am concentrating on using my makeup and not buying it. Today's video is my February update or check-in for my no buy year. I have not purchased anything since October of 2018, and I am going to the end of 2019 with my no buy year. It will be slightly over a year, but I'm doing the whole year of 2019. Hopefully that's clear as mud, and let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I thought we would talk about today is how much I spent on replacement products this month. If you want to see the products I did replace this month, that is in my February in review video, which went up a few days ago, so I will link that in case you missed it. But the total expenditure for the month of February was $112.59. This feels pretty steep to me. However, in retrospect, had I spent this amount on makeup, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. I wouldn't have even blinked had my cart at Ulta or Sephora come up to $112.59 if it was makeup. So I find it really interesting that my brain is starting to move in the more economical region when it comes to skincare. Overall, I like to keep my bookends of my skincare very inexpensive. That means cleanser and that means moisturizer. Cleanser, I'm just cleansing my face so long as it takes off what I want it to take off and it doesn't strip my skin. I'm just washing that down the drain anyways, so I like to keep that economical, as well as my moisturizer. The function of a moisturizer is to hold in whatever goodies in terms of serums and things like that that you've put on your face. So I like to keep the moisturizer pretty inexpensive as well. So that being said, I do think in months to come, the total expenditure for the month will be a lot less than this. So I feel good about my expenditures. Two things I know I will need to purchase next month. Number one is I will need to replace my nighttime moisturizer. I finished up the Drunk Elephant polypeptide protein-y shenanigans, and then I'm working through the Elemis marine cream that I received in my December Boxy Luxe. But I will be repurchasing my CeraVe nighttime moisturizer. It's economical, it does the trick, and I really do like it, and so that's what I'll be repurchasing, as well as my lip scrub category is currently empty. I haven't decided on a scrub yet, so if you have any recommendations down below, I would love to hear them. I'm a little disillusioned with the e.l.f. exfoliating stick thingy. I used to use that all the time, but the last 3 or 4 that I received were complete duds. Like, they were completely waxy and not even usable. So I'm looking for something else. It's not my favorite packaging to have something in a pot that I need to smear on with my finger, but I would go that route if I had to. So if you do have any stick exfoliating lip product recommendations, I would love to hear that. So I really do feel like I'm starting to settle into the groove of this whole no buy thing. It doesn't really feel like deprivation at the moment. Of course that can change, it's only February, but really at the moment I feel fine. I really do. I think it's interesting, one change that I've seen in myself this month. In my last update, which I will link for you, I did talk about how I was no longer going to allow myself to put things into my cart on the Ulta or Sephora apps, as well as I completely cleared off my wish lists on both of those apps and was no longer going to allow myself to put things on there. This was something that I called the fantasy shopping cart game. I'm sure a lot of you are also familiar with that. But since I have done that and, disallowed myself to do these things, I find myself spending less and less time on Ulta and Sephora, and when I do go on, it's more in an observation type way. I go on to see what's new, just to keep myself in the know and stay relevant for my beauty channel. But since I know that I can't put them in my cart or I can't put them on my wish list, it really is just a matter of observing what's new and moving on with my life. So I think that's really interesting how that has changed already. I knew right off the bat that the fantasy shopping cart game was something that was going to have to go, because it does sort of drive up those endorphins exactly like actual shopping does. So I think that's really cool. I'm hoping that that continues. I didn't have half and half for my coffee when I woke up this morning. And so I finally got my son to go to the store for me and get half and half. And it's like I've fallen in love with coffee all over again. So let's go ahead and talk about a couple of things that I feel like really helped me get through February of my no-buy year. The first thing is the series that Angela and I started called Pan That Palette Partners. This is the series where we pair a different palette from our collection each week with our Pan That palette to make it more fresh, more versatile, and just all over a more fun project. That's horrible grammar. I apologize. So I have really been enjoying that. I feel like not only am I successfully panning my Jaclyn Hill palette, but I'm also continuing to dive into the palettes that I already own. And so I feel really good about that. Like when I started the year with my Pan That palette, I'm very excited about my Pan That palette. In fact, I am wearing a Pan That Palette Partners look today. So I was very excited about my Pan That palette, but at the same time, I knew that all of my other palettes were languishing in my collection. So when Angela and I started this new series, we both felt like a sigh of relief that not only were we going to be working on and, you know, being successful with our Pan That palettes, but we were also going to continue to use what was in our collection, and we got to choose what we were going to be using out of our collection. So that's been really fun, kind of like shopping your stash for palettes and then squishing it together with your Pan That palette. The next thing that really helped me out this month was my Pan That palette project, as well as my other panning projects, which are my Choose Your Own Adventure in Panning with Angela, which is our year-long series, as well as the Birthday Era Project Pan, which just started, where I am panning things that are related to my birth decade, which is the 80s, baby. So overall, I think this really helped me this month, because that sense of accomplishment in finishing things, making progress on things, and also just enjoying the themes and the doing of project panning has really helped me keep my mind off of shopping this month, of acquiring anything new, because I am enjoying what I have. This year, I'm much more focused on putting things into my projects that I like, that I want to use, and that I want to make progress on. And I'm also curating my collection all the while. And the last thing that really helped your girl out this month with her no-buy year is shopping my stash. I believe I've mentioned this in months past, but shopping my stash is actually starting to feel like shopping now. I look forward to picking out a new handful of items that I'm going to focus on, that I'm going to review for you guys, and that I'm going to get to use all month long. And I think it's interesting, now that I'm not playing that fantasy shopping cart game, that shopping my stash really does feel like shopping. I feel like that same endorphin rush of dopamine kind of thing that I did when I clicked checkout on my cart at Ulta or Sephora. And that's really exciting to me. What's better than shopping your own stuff and using your own stuff? So I found that shopping my stash this month continues to be a really good way to keep me busy, to keep me interested in using what I have. So the last thing I want to leave you with this month is that I'm noticing the longer that I am on my no-buy, the more I feel disinterested and disillusioned or what have you with new releases. Like I said, I'm continuing to check out the new releases on Sephora and Ulta, as well as Trendmood on Instagram. And while I can look at them and appreciate them and even think that, oh, that's something I might have purchased in the past, it's not like, oh, I have to have that thing, I want it. It doesn't feel that way right now, and I think that's great. I see new palettes and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I just used a palette last week that I really love that's basically the same thing. So I find that to be a really interesting development this month, and overall I'm feeling great. I would love for you guys have been so great about sharing your no buy progress or low buy progress down in the comments. Please let me know how you are doing on your low buy or no buy. Tell us one thing that is helping you this month to stay strong and keep continuing on with your goal of spending less or spending nothing. Oh, and one really exciting development that I'm excited to report is because I'm not spending money on makeup and just in general, I have been pulling the reins back on spending in my life. I mentioned before that I'm finding myself being more cutthroat and critical about what I'm purchasing in other areas of my life. And because I have cut back on spending overall, I was able to get a new computer. I did get a MacBook Air, which means I have better editing software now. So be looking for some changes and some updates in my editing. I am so excited to be able to do that for you guys. I'm getting misty. What the hell? And on that note, I really and truly hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next video soon.